Good morning, good morning, good morning. My name is Lynette Phillips with Second to None Human Resource Services, and I'm very happy to be with you this morning. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that was a request from one of my clients, or actually, I should say just a request in general. And the request was that I give a talk on how to bring your employees back to work um, from being absent during the pandemic. And I don't want to say post pandemic because we still have issues and we still are in the middle of the pandemic, um, according to the government. So I didn't want to say post pandemic. So we're going to get to that quickly. But before we do that, as I always do, I want to start out by saying, please chat in your drink of choice today if you'd like to. And I'm going to tell you my drink of choice today. It's Jamaican Me Crazy coffee. So, and I have a little frog in my throat, so I'm going to take a real quick sip. Okay, so today I didn't want to put out any particular topics in. I'm going to do this discussion very differently than I've done for the last couple of months. So I'm going to give you some information today, and then in a couple of weeks, I will be on live again, and I will let you all know. Check out my LinkedIn when I will be on live to be able to have a question and answers if you have any questions to ask about things you want to do when it comes to planning to bring your employees back to work. So, without further ado, I'm going to get started. And the first advice I'd like to offer you is to become familiar with the CARES Act. Now, I know you're all thinking immediately that the CARES Act is a financial act, and you are absolutely correct. However, there is some information in there that may pertain to you as a small business. I don't want to get into all the finances and who should apply for PPP, who should apply for EIDL, or any of that information. Why I'm recommending that you become familiar with the CARES Act is because it's going to tie into employees, and I'll make the connection later. Employees that decide that they do not want to return to work for whatever reason. So I know, and I'm going to touch on that just a tad bit, and then I'll make the connection later. So fast forward to employees who are receiving what is called unemployment. So there are some employees who are receiving unemployment or PUA unemployment, which is the pandemic unemployment. And employees are receiving money if they were laid off because of the pandemic or they meet certain criteria. How this connects to you if you want to bring employees back is you may have employees who are deciding that they don't want to return to the office for whatever reason they're making that decision, and they're going to apply for unemployment. There, I would encourage you as the employee, if you have an employee that is able to return to work and they decide not to, then you want to make sure that you inform the unemployment office because you may be paying benefits through your unemployment. So I just want to make sure that that's why I'm recommending you become familiar with the CARES Act, and also make sure you understand if you are paying unemployment benefits to your employees or not. Okay, so that is my first tip that I like to offer you as advice when you're thinking about bringing and returning your employees back to the workplace. All right. So again, I just want to make sure you understand that you want to review the CARES Act, and you also want to take a look at what employees you have on unemployment and if you are paying any of those unemployment benefits. All right. Okay. So my second, and there is going to be a list of things within my second tip. When you're thinking about bringing your employees back to the workspace in an office setting, you want to create a timeline of events or things that you must do prior to bringing the employees back. And it would be a mini project management thing. And I would recommend you put together a team or committee, depending on how large your office is. So that team could consist of you and one or two other individuals, or it could just be you and another individual, depending again on the size of your staff. And on the timeline, I want to give you a couple of items I recommend are must to be on your timeline. First and foremost, you want to make sure that you have the anticipated date that you want to return your employees back to the office. All right. And the next thing I recommend, and I would not say necessarily in this order because it depends on how you function within your workspace. The second thing that I would recommend you do is have a date that is going to be a second date to bring employees back to the office. And why you're thinking? Well, first off, we are still, as I mentioned earlier, in the midst of a pandemic. And we would like to think and hope that everything will stay on track the way that we're planning it to be today. However, there have been instances where companies had started to bring employees back into the office and have had to halt for whatever reason, and they had to have a date to establish when the employees are going to come back yet again. So I'm recommending to you that you have two dates in mind so you don't have to recreate the wheel after you've already set it in motion. All right. My next piece of advice under the timeline would be create some communication for your employees. And when I say communication, I want you to, when you decide to let the employees know that they're going to be returning to work in whatever day that is that you decide, that you also in the same communication, email, text, however you communicate to your employees en masse, let them know what date you will have a meeting for the employees. And I'll talk about what information should be in this meeting that you're having with the employees. Give me a few moments. Have a meeting scheduled for the employees, because once you tell your employees you are expecting them to come to work, you are going to get all types of emotional feelings. And so I want you to try to alleviate some of that stress by saying to your employees, I'd like you to come back to work. And I'm going to just throw a day out there on June 29th. I'm hoping that's not a weekend. And you say, and we will be having a all employee meeting on May 30th. Again, I'm hoping that's not a weekend. Those are just examples. And you say to them at the same time, at that meeting, we will discuss any information we have to date about employees returning to work. So one, that will let them know that you will answer any questions at that time, because you may not have, and you probably won't have a lot of the answers that you need to have prior to bringing the employees back to work. All right. And the reason why I'm recommending a in-person meeting where someone can actually speak honestly to the employees and give employees current information is going to be important, because we know that there are some employees that can't wait to get back into the office. And there are some employees who don't want to go back to the office at all. And there are some who may want a mix of, I want to be able to work in the office and I want to be able to work from the office when I would like to. Now, I said that I want you to have this meeting and give out honest feedback to the employees, because quite frankly, you as the business owner, and more specifically, if you're a small business owner, you may want to let some of your employees have the option to work in the office or away from the office, or a mixture of both. And you may not want to do that. And your industry or your business may be such that it is a burden on your industry, in your job, in your office, to have employees not come into the office. And it may be vice versa, or you may have some positions again that it doesn't matter. Either way, you need to be clear on what positions you would like to be able to offer work from home, on what positions you would like to have employees come into the office on, and what positions could be either or a mixture of both. Okay. Now, with that said, I am not recommending that you let the employees run these decisions. What I am going to suggest is that you take a look at your job descriptions and determine which jobs you would like to offer as work from home, if you'd like to offer it at all. Now, if you decide that you don't want any of them to be work from home and you want to bring employees back, then by all means, let all employees know they will need to come back into the office. If you decide, this working from home thing kind of worked out, it helped because we were running low on space, and or any of those boxes you'd like to check, or that makes sense for you as the owner of your company to let employees work from home, then by all means, I would say do it. I want to encourage you not to make decisions based on the person doing the job. I'm going to say that again. Do not base your decision on whether someone can work from home based on who is in the position of that job currently. Why? Because people will not be with you forever. As we'd like to think, we have employees that will stay loyal to us forever. We never know why an employee may leave or not. And if you're thinking, well, this job could be a work from home, but Jane Doe or Jack Frost is currently doing that job or that particular position in your organization, and you don't trust Jane Doe or Jack Frost, then I would recommend you deal with the fact that you don't trust them, as opposed with the fact of this position working from home. So deal with the employee, their behavior, or whatever it is that you want to be able to correct within that employee, as opposed to saying that that particular job cannot work from home. It will save you headaches in the long run. All right. So that was kind of a lot. I'm going to go over it really quickly. When you're deciding within your timeline to communicate to the employees that they need to return back into the office, be sure to send out communications as to when you will have a mass meeting via Zoom, whether you're going to, however you communicate to your employees all at once is when you want to have the second piece of that information. So if you have any questions, again, I will be offering a time to answer specific questions for your my situations. And if you'd like to take me up on that, please join me then. All right. So that was one of the other tasks here. And I'm just taking a quick peek at my notes to make sure I'm covering everything that I wanted to. Let's see. Oh, also on your timeline, you want to make sure that you have supplies. When you will order any additional supplies you need, will you be providing masks for employees when they come to the office? Do you have enough sanitizer, cleaning supplies, desk wipes, or are you having a company come in to take care of your cleaning needs? And if so, have a meeting with them, or whoever you already have a contract, have a meeting with them on what type of cleaning materials they're using and anything that you may need to go along with the cleaning process you have. And if you're regulated by OSHA, please make sure that you have all of the safety guidelines associated with any of the cleaning supplies that you have. So I wanted to make sure that I threw that in there. And is it also plan out, is it necessary for you to move any of the employees' desk? Is there a space issue at your location? So are you going to have to mark off 6 feet apart for employees? I would encourage you to make sure that you are looking into that. And also, if you have a copier room, how many people can be in the copier room at one time? What are the parameters around who can be in there? And also prepare to have signage on your door. So the signage should say something to the effect of, we mandate that all employees have masks in this area. All right. So I just want to make sure that I am sharing a lot of the things that I think are just the very basic and the minimums of what you should have planned when you want to bring employees into the office. Now, again, those are just the things that I felt like I wanted to encourage you to definitely include in your plan to bring your employees back to work. What I will also say is that is not an exhaustive list. And this list on the plan will probably be a work in progress. So you will continue to add and subtract from this list depending on your industry as time goes along with bringing your employees back to work. So hopefully that was very, very helpful for you in making sure that you put together a team and have a timeline. All right, so I want to make sure that we all are clear on that. So my next tip that I want to offer you is not necessarily a tip, but it's a few things that I want to bring to your attention. It is very important to be honest with your employees throughout this process. And being honest is going to help alleviate a lot of stress and a lot of angst for any employees while we are all going through this very um, different type of time we're living through because of the pandemic. I want to encourage you to please document, document, document. Keep a record of what you are currently doing to bring your employees back to work. Definitely keep a record of any kind of contact you're making with employees with respect to when they will be returning to the office, when the employee meetings will be, any employees you are having who are saying they're refusing to come back to work and that they don't report for work on the day that they are scheduled to come. Please document all of that information. And I'm saying to document it because if employees are deciding to come to work, document that they showed up. If employees decide they don't want to come to work, please find out immediately why they're not returning. Is it because they're ill? Is it because of any other reason that an employee may be absent from work for that day? All right, so make sure you are keeping good notes on why employees are coming and are they not coming to work. You may want to look at staggering employees coming in. So some employees work Monday, Wednesday, Friday, other employees work Tuesday and Thursday, or however you want to do it or is necessary for you to do it to continue to keep your business flowing with the least amount of interruption. And something I wanted to bring up at the very end, so I saved this for the end before I get to anything else, is I know that I've had a lot of people contact me, and I guess I shouldn't say a lot. Several people contact me to say that they have been asking their employees to if they've had the shot or not. And I've also had several employees contact me to say, my employer is asking me if I've had the shot, and I don't feel comfortable with saying whether I have had the shot, or my employer has asked me if I took the shot, and I really don't feel as though it's any of their business. Here's why what I'd like to share with you. One, I am certainly not a doctor, and I'm definitely not an attorney. However, I want to caution you and say, I would be very careful as an employer when it comes to asking employees about having the shot or not. That is considered employees' medical history. And there are laws that currently tell us, HIPAA for one, it's not okay to ask employees about their medical situation. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there are incidences where you will find that employees are not getting the shot for whatever reason. It could be because they have other underlying medical issues, and if that they don't wish to disclose to you. And if you get into asking employees if they've gotten the shot, if so, what kind? If not, why didn't they? Then you could be bumping up against other medical issues that the employee has that we already know we should not be asking questions about. All right. So, again, I am not an attorney and I'm not a doctor. However, I do know that there has already been, not specific to the pandemic or the shot for the pandemic, for coronavirus shot, but there have been incidences in other illnesses and situations where there have been lawsuits against companies for asking about employees' medical information. So I want to encourage you all to be very, very careful. And if it is very important for you in your industry to determine whether a person has had the coronavirus shot, please consult your legal advisor prior to doing so on a mass level. Now, if an employee shares with you that they have had the shot, great. I would not say anything in response to that, nor would I recommend you do that. I would, as I would with any other sensitive situation, recommend that we have a policy that everyone in the company follow, which is don't ask people about their medical situations. All right. Again, I can't say this and stress this enough. I am not a lawyer and I'm not a doctor. However, I am familiar with HIPAA and I am familiar with how HIPAA applies to the workplace. All right. So I just want to caution you, to be very careful when it comes to asking people about have they not gotten the coronavirus shot. So again, I hope this was very helpful. And I have covered most of the things I think that are very important for you to start doing when you begin, thinking about or looking at taking and bringing employees back to the workplace. One other thing I wanted to say, and I'm looking right at my notes and it was staring me right in the face and I totally skipped over it. So I'm going to apologize. Something else you want to do, in this whole process of bringing employees back to work is to look at job descriptions and make sure that your job descriptions are going to, be relevant for today, this time and day. So if you're deciding to let employees work from home, do you need to adjust the job description? If it's going to be they can work from home from time to time, then definitely maybe have a policy and procedure on how that's going to work. All right. Or practice and make sure that everyone who should know how it works does. So again, my name is Lynette Phillips with Second to None Human Resource Services, and I am very happy to have shared this time with you today. And if you have any questions, please know that I will be on to answer any of my personal situation questions, in a couple of weeks. And hopefully next week, I'll get a tape out there that we can post on LinkedIn. And you certainly can follow me on Second to None HR. Check out my YouTube, and any of the videos I have will all be posted there with information that will be helpful for you when bringing your employees back to work. Have a fantastic day.